your acceptance isn't based on who you are, but whose you are. In the story, God reminds us that your divine acceptance is not rooted in your identity, not in your actions or your status. It's just rooted in whose you are. It's rooted in your identity, not your actions, and not your status. Look what God says about Ishmael in Genesis 21 verse 13. The promise is, God said, I will make the son of the slave into a nation also. You'll catch it in 10 seconds. Because he is your offspring. Did you hear what God said? God said, I will make the son of the slave into a nation also because, watch it, he is your offspring. That right there shows us the heart of God. Ishmael didn't deserve this, but let me remind you, because Ishmael was not an innocent child. Remember now, Ishmael is being pushed out of the house. Ishmael is being pushed out based upon his past. And Paul tells us in Galatians chapter 4 verse 29 that Ishmael did not just mock Isaac, but Ishmael persecuted Isaac. Picture it, 17 years old, a teenager persecuting a 3-year-old toddler. This wasn't just sibling rivalry, this was bullying. This wasn't just teasing, this was tormenting. This wasn't just drama, this was persecution. And if you look at Ishmael's history, everything says he should have been rejected. You missed it. Wake up, everybody. I said, if you look at his history, everything says you should have been rejected. His past says he should have been pushed aside. His actions say you should have been left behind. His mistakes say you should have been cast out and cut off. Watch this. But God, God says in Genesis 21:13, I will make the son of the slave into a nation also because he is your offspring. Why did God bless him? Why did God accept him? Simply because he was connected to Abraham. It wasn't about Ishmael's perfection. It wasn't about Ishmael's perfection. It was more about his connection. Ishmael wasn't blessed because of his behavior. He was blessed because of his bloodline. He wasn't accepted because of his actions. He was accepted because of his association. He got the blessing not because of who he was, but because of whose he was. Let me illustrate it like this. In 2011, my dad told me that we are going to migrate to the United States of America. They had filed for, my aunt had filed for the family about 8 years ago. And when it finally came through, my dad is saying that, man, we are going to the United States of America. And so I'm like happy, and I'm like, wow, we're going to the United States of America. And so when I started to look around and see who were going to go with my dad to America, I saw my siblings, my siblings coming with me. But then my dad had also another son before he met my mom. And so guess who I saw coming as well at the airport? My dad's son. I only saw him in Jamaica a few times growing up. We weren't as close. And so I was wondering in my mind, how is that going to work? That even though we did not grow up together, that my brother is going to enjoy the same blessing that I'm receiving. And I want to let you know that they told me that anyone who is connected to my dad can have the same blessing. So if my mom is connected to my dad, she can have the same blessing. If my brothers are connected to my dad, then guess what? He can have the same blessing. As long as he was my dad's son, he would get the same blessing of traveling to the United States of America. And I want to let somebody know today that God is not accepting you based upon who you are, but whose you are. You aren't perfect, but you're accepted. God didn't accept you based on your perfection, but because of your connection. God did not check your resume. He checked your relationship. It wasn't about your performance, but it was more about your position. You're not accepted because of your merit, but you're accepted because of God's mercy. God's blessing is not tied to your credentials, but it's tied to your connection. And I'm just wondering if somebody knows that God's blessing is not tied to your greatness, but God's blessing is tied to his grace. His marvelous grace, his wonderful grace, his amazing grace. And so when God says, I'm going to bless you, he does not look at your behavior. He doesn't look at your perfection and do a checklist and say, look, you have been a good girl today, so I'm going to bless you. No, God blesses you. Once you're connected to Jesus Christ, his son, you receive all the blessings that he has in store for you. So where you feel rejected, God will remind you that you have been accepted.
If this message was a blessing to you, please subscribe, please like, leave a positive comment. I want to know how this message impacted your life. And then share this message with somebody else, or maybe some more people in your contacts or on your social media outlets, so that they too can be blessed. And I hope to see you soon on this channel.